festive young turkey breast with gravy backing. You need two things to have an incredible turkey breast. You'll make sure that never happens again. I think the rule of thumb here is about an hour and a half per pound. A pair of shears and cutting the spine out. So you just gently. All right, we are just about a half hour in, 160 degrees. See, the thing is, in my opinion, when you go above 14, 15 pounds, the quality of the meat, the texture, it kind of goes down a little. I guarantee you, if you cook a 21-pound bird right beside a 12-pound bird, the 12-pound bird is going to turn out better. It's not going to feed as many people, but it's going to turn out better. It's going to have a better flavor. It's going to have a better consistency. It's just going to be a better bite. My approach to Thanksgiving has kind of evolved over the years, but I've been playing with this new technique and this new recipe, and I think this is what's going to be featured on my Thanksgiving table this year. It says here the USDA suggests 1 pound of turkey per person. We have a 7.4 pound turkey breast. It says festive young turkey breast with gravy backing. So Mike, why just the turkey breast? Well, the turkey breast gets a bad rep because it's so overcooked so often and not flavored properly. If you do them like I'm about to show you, this can be absolutely just as good as some dark meat, if not better. If you've been watching some of my videos recently, you'll know the secret to chicken. Well, the secret to chicken is the exact same secret to turkey. You need two things to have an incredible turkey breast: moisture, flavor. Turkey doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. You got to add it in there. Simple steps, easy cook, amazing results. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and get this turkey breast out of the packaging. Another secret to making sure your turkey turns out great, no matter whether it's Thanksgiving or any time, is to give it plenty of time to thaw if it's been frozen. Almost all of them have been frozen. Most people don't give them enough time to thaw. And so if it's a whole turkey, you know, if it's above 14 pounds, it needs almost a whole week. And for a turkey breast like this, you know, just short of a week. You just want to make sure that there's no part that's frozen, because if it does, you're gonna have places that aren't cooked evenly. It could even get into a food safety issue if you're cooking to 160 and there's a spot that's frozen deep down that you don't get to, you don't thaw it out long enough, and that spot for some reason is just persistent as far as staying frozen, and someone eats that spot when it only got up to about 150 because it was frozen and you didn't realize it was much cooler than the rest of the turkey. It's just like any other food safety issue. It doesn't happen most of the time. But if you're one of the unlucky ones that it does happen to, bad. You'll make sure that never happens again. What I have here is a container that, to the best that I could do, fit this turkey breast exactly. And there's just enough space to put the turkey breast in, put enough water in it, and all of our flavorings that we're about to put in here, without having too much space at the top, but making sure that I can keep it submerged. The first thing we're gonna start out with is 3/4 of a cup of salt. Then we're going to go in with a 1/2 cup of white sugar, a tablespoon of lemon pepper seasoning. It can be any kind, just those basic flavors, lemon pepper. Tablespoon of celery salt, 2 tablespoons of garlic salt, 1 small can of pineapple juice, and it can be regular or light. This is what we're going to be injecting with tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and use a 1/2 cup of it right here for the brine. Kosmos has a great line of products for keeping that moisture level up as high as you can get it. Most people like their meats moist. I'm gonna stir this up really well. It's gonna take a couple of minutes. 2 bay leaves, continuing to stir. Take our turkey cavity up, set it down in there, and then let that cavity fill. And so the best way to do this is to make sure that your spine is up. And it's gonna wanna kind of float around and tip a little bit, and that's fine, but just make sure both breasts are completely submerged. I'm gonna go ahead and put just a little bit of more water in here just to make sure we have good coverage and we're not gonna have any spots that are sitting in the oxygen overnight, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna brine this guy in the refrigerator for at least 12 hours. I think the rule of thumb here is about an hour and a half per pound. 18 hours later, and our turkey breast is done with its bath. And we're gonna carefully flip him upside down so that all the brine runs out of the cavity. You don't wanna do it the other way around because you're gonna end up with a mess. I tell you that from experience. And we're gonna set it in our pan breast up, which is kind of like that. I'm calling an audible on this, and it's because I don't like the way this thing's sitting. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the penetration of butter like I want to when it's in this pan if it's sitting up like that, even if I cover it with foil. So I'm gonna spatchcock it, which simply means I'm taking a pair of shears and cutting the spine out. And I apparently should have a pair of sharper shears because these are not very sharp. And so you just put your shears on one side of the spine, and it's usually pretty easy to do. The skin can be a little bit tricky if your shears are dull. We want to make sure this turkey breast is the best it can possibly be. And we're going to use our secret weapon, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. It's butter. In order to let that secret weapon do its job, we need this turkey breast to be down in this pan, and we're gonna put some smoke on it, get that nice smoke profile, but we're gonna then cover it with foil after an hour and a half, 2 hours to let that thing just braise to the finish line. But prior to that, we went ahead and brined it last night, right? And we talked about that, and the brining is for two purposes. Remember what I said is wrong with turkey breast? It's either dry or it has no flavor, or both. And so with the brine, what we're doing is we're just packing that thing full of moisture, and it takes the salt with it, and the salt creates flavor. So we're solving the two problems wrong with turkey breast traditionally. And then we're gonna add our secret weapon, which is butter with a little bit of chicken broth. And now we're gonna inject it. So first, I'm gonna press it flat so that it'll sit flat in this pan, or flatter. And then we're gonna go ahead and inject it with 2 sticks of butter, put a half a cup of Kosmos chicken injection, and a half cup of chicken bone broth. All right, so when you spatchcock a turkey or a chicken, you have the breastbone here that needs to be broke so that it'll sit flat. And so you just gently give it a push. Now we're gonna pull this out because it serves literally no purpose. All right, and 2 sticks of butter, half cup of chicken broth, chicken bone broth, chicken something. And I'm using my injector, although I think it's almost time for another one. This thing is starting to show its age. It's held up for years though. Basically working on a grid scale, kind of where you see these feather lines, except every inch or so. I'm gonna go in, just put my fingers over the hole, give it a pump, move it around a little bit, pull it out, do the same thing. Make sure your hands are over that hole the whole time. You should feel the meat kind of swelling underneath of your hand. This is your chance to get all that beautiful butter in the meat so that we end up with a absolutely fantastic turkey breast. Just gonna kind of situate it just in the center there. Take the rest, a little bit of the leftover, and just kind of dump that on the skin, and that is gonna be basically a binder for us. This is the perfect flavor profile for what we're looking for here. We're just looking for that black pepper, citrus kind of, goodness we're trying to create. And I'm just gonna nice and heavily coat the outside of this. It's just flavor, layers of flavor. Get the side. It's gonna take a lot of it. All right, I'm using the OG, the RecTech RT680 pellet smoker today. Using Royal Oak's 100% charcoal pellets. The reason I'm using the Rectech is it's just so reliable and so easy. Right on the center, 275 for an hour. All right, before we close the lid on this, let's put our room temperature or more butter in the pan. Now that is room temperature butter, my friends. Add just a little bit more of the broth, just to kind of line the bottom of the pan. I don't want the meat swimming in this, but just enough to make sure that the butter doesn't evaporate, and that when we go to wrap this, we're gonna have plenty of liquid to keep this incredibly moist. All right, we are just about a half hour in. So we're doing this very, very carefully, because this will help set the rub, but we want to make sure that we don't knock it off. But we got to start getting butter on this skin, because butter is the secret. And that's it. Come back and check it in another half hour. I went ahead and did another basting at about an hour in. I did that off camera. And now I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'm going to wrap it in foil, and we'll take this guy up to 160 degrees. So I'll check temperatures, and we'll put a food probe in here so that I can monitor it when it's covered. It's time to braise this guy to the finish line. It is looking so amazing. Let's see where we stand. Oh, perfect. 123. Beautiful. And we're going to use ThermalWorks signals. There's probe 1. Is when I insert the probe, I insert it and I look for that number, that reading I got with the Insta read. So I'm sticking it deeper into the, the deepest part of the breast there. As I get towards the breastbone, I'm looking for that number that I had on the Insta read, which was right around 125, 126. And so that's it right there. It's been a half an hour. We are somewhere near 2.5 hours in. We have an internal temperature of 155. Now we're gonna raise the temperature on the Rectech. And my knob is broke, so this is a little bit trickier. We're going up to 375. We're gonna leave the foil on, and we're gonna go for about 20 minutes. We brined it, we injected it, and we braised it all the way to the finish line. And because of that, we're gonna take these temperatures up just a little bit further. And the reason for that is to make this skin absolutely bite through. Let it rest right in the foil, just on the counter for about an hour and a half. Just about 3 hours total cook time, because we did it so slow to let all that fat on the skin render. And now it's been sitting, resting, for an hour and 15 minutes. Just for fun, let's see what the internal temperature is after resting for so long. 166. So it's barely went down at all. You know, I had a grocery store worker tell me recently the secret to rotisserie chicken is the fact that it sits for so long. It cooks for a long time, and then they package it and let it sit in the warmers for a long time. And they say that that is the secret to a perfectly juicy rotisserie chicken. Oh my goodness. Get another slice there. It's so tender and so juicy. All right, now you remember our juice. This is literally just butter, turkey juice, and a little chicken stock, along with, you know, any spices and fats that have rendered out into it. And we're just going to give it a stir. If you really wanted to take this to another level, you could run this through a separator and clean it up. Wow, I mean, this came out really good. I mean, it's so juicy. You can see where it's just loaded. See about this skin right here. Thanksgiving doesn't get much better than this, guys. Bite through skin. And then just complemented with that Traeger lemon pepper. That is an excellent, excellent seasoning for turkey or chicken. I mean, we got smoke ring in places. I can't find a piece that isn't just absolutely juicy. The salt, the brine, combined with the butter. The flavor is simple, but it's out of this world. I want you to follow the steps in this video. It doesn't matter if it's way before Thanksgiving, way after, you know, maybe it's July. Just do a turkey breast. That way you can practice and make sure that for your next Thanksgiving, whenever that may be, you can put out a banging turkey breast. God bless butter and bacon. I don't know what else to say. If you want a perfect turkey breast, you know how to do it. If you enjoyed watching the video, drop me a like down below. Ask me any questions you may have down in the comments section. But most importantly, share this video with someone who's cooking turkey. If you want to hold out on the like, no problem. Make the turkey, come back and give me that like when you're done, because you're going to absolutely fall in love with this recipe.